has finally landed their first official star. Yes, this is not their first signing, but this is the first signing with real star power. You had Nneka Ogwumike. You had Alyssa Thomas. You had Jonquel Jones. You had Jewel Lloyd, Camila Cardoso, Janelle Saloon, Kelsey Mitchell, Lee Mang, and now you have Sophie, the trophy.
The WNBA offseason just got heated. Sophie Cunningham shook the basketball world by announcing she's joining Project B, the new league offering players over $2 million a year. But this move isn't just about the money. It's about respect, power, and watching players who spent the season throwing shade suddenly realize they may have backed the wrong side. The league everyone doubted is now stacking its roster with real names, and some people who talked big are noticeably quiet.
And watching certain players who spent all season throwing shade suddenly realize they might have picked the wrong side. The league that everyone said would never work is stacking its roster with names that actually matter. And some folks are noticeably quiet right now.
The next team I play for, I want a bigger contract, so then I can buy a house and be homey and cozy.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That could be the Liberty. It could be New York City. It could also be...
Sophie Cunningham just made the ultimate power move of the offseason, and you can almost hear jaws dropping all over social media. The Phoenix Mercury guard turned Indiana Fever standout announced she's joining Project B, and the timing couldn't be better. While some players spent the season chasing drama and beef, Sophie focused on building real value, and now she's cashing in. The silence from certain corners of the basketball world says it all.
I'm excited to announce that I'm actually joining Project B's athlete roster. I'm so thrilled for it. It is giving women's basketball a platform that is much deserving, not only here in the United States, but across the world. So come on this journey.
Let's break down what Project B really is, because this isn't some fly-by-night operation. It's a legitimate 5-on-5 league set to launch in fall 2026 with 6 teams of 11 players each. And the minimum salary is $2 million, more than 6 times last year's WNBA Supermax backed by NFL legend Steve Young and tennis icon Novak Djokovic. This league is serious money meeting serious basketball. Sophie Cunningham announced her move with genuine excitement, highlighting how Project B gives women's basketball the platform it deserves, not just in the U.S., but globally. While the WNBA has lagged on fair compensation, outside investors are stepping up with real contracts that prove these athletes are worth millions. Sophie becomes the second Indiana Fever player to join, right after Kelsey Mitchell, meaning 2 of the team's biggest stars are moving to a league that actually values them. That says everything about the current state of professional women's basketball. Critics spent the season downplaying the Fever's success, pretending only one player mattered, but Project B proves them wrong in the most expensive way possible. You don't offer a $2 million minimum to someone who isn't crucial, and you don't build a league around players who don't move the needle.
Project B, their season runs with Unrivaled. The same time of year, Project B starts earlier, finishes a little later. Unrivaled runs in the middle of that. If you are in Project B, there is no way, shape, or...
Sophie Cunningham is the 3rd most searched WNBA player on Google. Let that sink in. 3rd most searched. Fans want to watch her play. She has real drawing power, and she's highly marketable. Yet all season, some tried to act like she was irrelevant, undeserving of attention, or riding coattails. Today, those voices are noticeably quiet. The fascinating part is watching the narrative flip in real time. All season long, certain players and their fan bases acted like they were the only ones who mattered, treating popularity as a zero-sum game and spending more time tearing others down than building themselves up. Now, those same people are seeing players they dismiss sign contracts worth millions while they wait to see what happens next. Project B is also different from Unrivaled, and that difference matters. Unrivaled is 3-on-3 basketball in the off-season. Fine, but it's not the same game. 3-on-3 requires a different skill set, strategy, and creates a completely different product. Project B is offering traditional 5-on-5 basketball, the game these women have played their entire lives and the game fans actually want to watch. That's a huge advantage. Players don't need to adjust their style, learn new rotations, or change strategies. They just play the sport they love and get paid what they're truly worth. The league runs during the WNBA offseason, so it doesn't compete directly with the main league, allowing players to earn both their WNBA salary and an even bigger payday in Project B. Think about that. An off-season league paying more than the league these athletes built their careers in. And the talent already committed is incredible. Jewel Lloyd, one of the top guards in the game. Guju Watkins, a rising star. Camila Carter-Doso, a dominant presence in the paint. These aren't role players. They're impact stars who could go anywhere. And they chose Project B. That says everything about the direction of this league. Meanwhile, it's almost comical watching critics try to spin this as bad for women's basketball, claiming it splits the player pool or confuses fans, when in reality, it's exactly the kind of move the sport needed. The reality is simple. More opportunities for women to earn life-changing money playing basketball is a win for everyone. More leagues create leverage in negotiations. More options give players power. And the only real losers are those who have underpaid these athletes for years. The WNBA is still in tough labor negotiations and hasn't offered a max contract over $1 million, while Project B is starting with $2 million minimums. That alone shifts the power dynamic dramatically. Sophie Cunningham joining Project B also raises questions about who might follow. Several Fever players are being followed by the league on social media, fueling speculation about future signings, with Lexi Hull's name repeatedly mentioned. Why wouldn't she join for $2 million to play basketball in the offseason? The reaction online shows the divide. Some fans are genuinely happy, while others are bitter their favorite players aren't getting the same spotlight. Critics may downplay it, but they'll watch Project B anyway, even if it's just to hate watch. What they don't get is that women's basketball is bigger than any single player. The sport is growing because multiple talented, marketable athletes bring different skills and personalities to the game. Sophie Cunningham brings shooting, charisma, and a loyal fan base, which is worth investing in, and worth a $2 million minimum. The fact that Project B isn't tied to Saudi Arabia money adds another interesting layer. Project B has a deal with a Saudi events company, but the league is paying them, not the other way around, which matters to those concerned about the source of the money. The league appears focused on building something legitimate with investors who genuinely care about women's basketball, not just PR stunts. Steve Young's involvement adds credibility. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback who understands professional sports, league building, and player value. Novak Djokovic brings international appeal, signaling serious investment from people who believe in the product. The long-term impact on the WNBA could be huge. Will they finally pay players what they're worth, or continue citing revenue limits while outside investors prove women's basketball can sustain million-dollar salaries? The league can't ignore Project B. They have to respond. And their response likely requires opening the checkbook. The timing of these announcements is perfect, right in the off-season buzz when fans are eager for news and the conversation around player value is at its peak. Sophie Cunningham and Kelsey Mitchell's moves put pressure on other players to decide and force the WNBA to rethink its approach, reshaping the professional women's basketball landscape. Critics may complain about drama or uncertainty, but this is what a healthy sports market looks like. Players have options, teams compete for talent, and leagues must prove their value. The biggest question remains Caitlin Clark. If she joins, Project B instantly becomes must-watch television. If not, it still has immense talent, though some mainstream appeal may be lost. A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese are also top names still on the sidelines. Neither Caitlin Clark nor A'ja Wilson plays an unrivaled, but if they joined Project B, it would add even more legitimacy. Still, even without them, The league already boasts stars like Sophie Cunningham, Kelsey Mitchell, Jewel Lloyd, Guju Watkins, and Camila Cardoso, a roster capable of delivering competitive, entertaining basketball. What's even more satisfying is watching critics who spent the season tearing down players like Sophie now confronted with reality. These athletes are signing million-dollar contracts while the haters rage online for free. From a business standpoint, Sophie's move is brilliant. She's betting on herself and a new league that recognizes her value, showing confidence and guts. She could have played it safe in the WNBA, avoiding controversy, but instead she's taking a risk on something that could change women's basketball forever. Project B's structure is smart. 6 teams, 11 players each, manageable rotations, chemistry development, and an off-season schedule that avoids overextension or injury. The league is building for longevity, not a quick splash. More announcements and signings are coming, but right now Sophie Cunningham has made a statement. She's worth millions, deserves a platform that respects her value, and is ready to be part of something bigger than the status quo. Project B agreed and backed her with a contract. Haters can complain, but investors and fans have spoken. This isn't just about one player. It's about the future of women's basketball and who controls it. The old guard tried to keep players underpaid and undervalued, but now athletes are reclaiming their power and earning what they deserve. Sophie Cunningham joining Project B signals where the sport is headed, and it's impossible to ignore.